friends. So very quickly, I want to know that one or two people, can speak because this class, I know that a lot of students have nominated to this class, right? And what happens mostly is that this we term it as, the finishing school. So initially, a lot of people nominate, but only few become developers at the end of the year. So this program, we have been running with a lot of colleges in India as well as in US. 70, 100 people nominate first. Only 10 become those chosen developers in Angular, in MVC Core. They are there till the end, right? So I want to know from one or two people, not everyone. It would be very difficult. At least on the chat, if you can put down on the chat, because remember that we have people from Dhangadi here, from Nast College. We have people, from other colleges from Kathmandu. We have people from Pokhara College. Lot of people out here, right? So just to get a feel on the chat, go ahead and put that why you are attending this session. What is the goal of attending this session? I have already created one video. If everyone knows, I have created one video, saying that what we intend to do, what stack we intend to cover, right? But just on the chat, I just want to know that why do you intend to join this session, and what makes you to come to the session today? Please put down on the chat. Don't speak on the mic, because we have more than so many participants on YouTube as well and everywhere, right? Somebody asked me that will it get recorded? It is recorded on YouTube. So this is live streamed on YouTube, and you can see the lessons later on. So not an issue, right? Yeah. So let me see, one or two people can answer on the chat that why you are attending this session. I had already given a gist. What makes you attend this session? Okay. So before I start, let us see some answers out there. And I'm expecting participation. There should be some participation. Remember that if you're attending this, learn for getting a job. Very good. I think, this is the biggest motive. People who are coming here to say, if you tell to me that I'm coming here to get a knowledge, it is good. Yeah. Okay. Learn to get a job. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very happy that most of the people are here to get a job, right? And I'm here to announce about myself and about the programming industry. But Krishna, what about jobs, right? At the end of the day, we all need jobs, right? So one is that, yes, searching opportunity, job opportunity, right, Jeevan? Okay, very good. So I can see that most of our students here in the last year are here to get a job, right? And this course is intended for that, right? I'll just give you a brief, guys, what's happening in the IT industry and what is happening in colleges, right? And I think I've given that first, but let me very, very quickly talk about it. I have been a graduate myself, and I have done engineering, and one thing which I've found in engineering is that in engineering, we focus on topics at a very broader level, right? So we focus on C++. In one semester, somebody comes and teaches us C++. Somebody comes and teaches us Java in some other semester. And we do it for marks. Definitely, we want to do it for marks, right? We learn SQL in one of the topics. We learn this, right? This is what we do it in colleges. We learn these things individually, right? But what happens in the IT industry is they need a stack. I don't know if you have heard this word, full stack developer, right? A full stack developer means, they need a person who can do all the work, right from creating an UI, writing and business logic, create, talking with databases, right? So they need a person, who, these are stacks actually. These are like layers. We can term it as stacks, we can term it as layers, right? So they want a full stack developer, right from coding the view till, putting the data into databases and writing the business logic, right? If you are saying that I want to get a job, if you go to any senior IT person out there or anyone out there, right? The first thing, they will ask you is that, what have you done, right? So either, now this full stack, can be, you will say that, okay, I'm a person who is a Java stack. Okay. A Java stack person means his database is Oracle, must be. He codes in Java, JSP, or whatever it is, right? And his front end can be React, it can be Angular. This is one of the stacks. Another one will say that I am a node developer. Fine. A node developer means he must be coding in Express, right? Backend can be MongoDB. and front end can be React, Angular, Vue.js, right? But our stack, and I'm very particular on this, as I've said that as we are all intending to get a job in the IT industry, right? The stack which I will be teaching out here is the following, and this is the Microsoft stack plus it has a Google as a front end, that Google Angular as a front end. So this I term it as a Microsoft stack, right? And one of the things which I will just as a knowledge I will tell you, when a lot of people like Python, or a lot of people would like Java, or a lot of people would like .NET or C Sharp, and some person would like C++. Every developer, depending on that thought process, they like a particular language. My only suggestion out here is that also look at that who is the company supporting behind it. For example, you have Python. Python has a very vibrant community, awesome, vibrant community, very big community out there, right? But it is not backed up by any big organization. I'm not saying Python is good or bad. I'm just saying that there is no professional organization, or how I will say, a kind of an enterprise organization backing it. For example, Java is backed by Oracle, thumbs up for it. C Sharp is backed by Microsoft, thumbs up for it, right? So we know that that company will put all its efforts and all its money to ensure that stack runs. So one is that you choose a language what you like, right? Another one is also choose your organization. Do you want to work for products which are made by IBM? Do you want to work for products which are made by Microsoft? Do you want to work for products which are made by Google? So what I've seen is that developers don't join a language. They don't like a language. They like a company. For example, at this moment, I'm focusing Microsoft stack. I've been working 20 to 25 years only in Microsoft. I started with Basica, Visual Basic, VC++, and till now I'm doing .NET, and now I started .NET Core, and I'm doing Angular and TypeScript and SQL Server backend, and I was never jobless, and I never had an issue, right? So the point is that whatever stack you choose, right, be focused on that. Don't put your head like say, okay, I will do Python now, and the next day, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this. Oh no, very focus, very much on that, and you become a master on that, right? And that's what will get you a job, right? So in IMark, this IMark initiative is a free initiative out here, and we have decided that we will have a lot of lecturers. I, as a Shiv Prasad, the lecturer, I will be teaching a Microsoft stack. So what we are going to learn out here is our front end will be using Angular, right? HTML as the UI, and we will write the business logic in C Sharp, MVC, .NET Core. This is the language. We will use something called as EF Core, Entity Framework Core, right? And our backend database, this will be SQL Server for now. Must be, I will also show you examples of how to connect to Postgre and other databases, right? So this is the stack, which I'm going to teach you. And this stack has a very decent demand in the market, right? So front end in Angular, CSS, JavaScript, this is the front end, the view. This is your model, the business logic, and this is your RDBMS, the data logic, or the database RDBMS, right? So that is the topic what we are going to learn out here. So guys, any questions on what we are targeting? We are targeting the Microsoft stack. So if you have any questions, what we are targeting in our lecture, please let us know. Yeah, do mute yourself and kindly, yes. Right, so any questions here, what we are trying to learn? So it's a very focus, as industry needs a focus thing, we are going to learn it focus. Now, one more important point out here. As I've said, this complete lecture, right? Yeah, please do mute yourself. Yes, Raju, please take care, or else we have to send everyone to YouTube, right? Okay, and very quickly, this, as I've said, that this journey is very, very big. It is not a simple journey. If you look at the syllabus out here, it's a very vast syllabus. So it will not happen today. It will not happen tomorrow. It will take like 3-4 months. So we are tapping you on the 4th year. Why? Because in the 4th year, you can put like at least 1 hour, 2 hours in a week. And then slowly till the end of the year, at least we will complete 50-60% of the topic. And then when your college finishes, we do like full 1 month and we complete this complete lecture, right? So the point here is to start slow, to start 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right? Slow, right? And so you can see here, first is we will talk about JavaScript. Then the next lecture will be on Node, NPM. Then we will talk about VS Code. We'll talk about TypeScript. We'll talk about SQL Server. We will create a UI using Angular, .NET Core, and lots of things out there. It It is a very big marathon out here, and I will also be adding topics also in between if I need, right? Now, a couple of things here. So let me see any questions, at least on the stack part. What are we going to learn? Any questions over here? And we are going to have on WhatsApp group. We are going to have a group, which can be on Telegram that Raju will decide. IMark will decide. So in that group, what we can do is we can start talking in case when you have issues. If you're practicing something, how to help you out, we will see that, right? Remember, it is pandemic. It is very difficult to come to your colleges and teach. So we are trying to do this online, right? So let us see. Okay. Now, very quickly, before I start the session out here, we will start from the front end. So we will first, as I said, the front end is in Angular. So I can see no questions. If you have any questions, you can. This is the business logic in C#, .NET Core, MVC, and database is SQL Server, right? Now this front end in this Java, this Angular, right? You either do Angular, you either do React, you either do Vue.js, you either do any of the UI frameworks, what you are known today. The father of all of these frameworks is JavaScript. If you don't know JavaScript properly, these front ends will not make sense for you, right? So our first topic, in the coming 3, 4, or I will say even like 5 lectures is dedicated to in-depth JavaScript. This is not that JavaScript you have done in your college, like, okay, script language, JavaScript, alert, hello. No, this is going to be very in-depth, very much in-depth and very much enterprise kind of teaching, right? So let us start with JavaScript. Now, before I start with JavaScript, I can see some questions here. I can take them. Why not to use Oracle with .NET and why only SQL Server? Very good question from Krishna here. Good question, Krishna. So first thing, about the RDBMS, I raise my hands. About the RDBMS, you can choose whatever you wish, right? So I will be showing you examples not only by SQL Server, right? I will be showing you examples by using Postgre as well. Postgre is one of the RDBMS. You can also do the examples by Oracle. About the RDBMS, I'm okay. You should be good in writing SQL. You should be good in understanding normalization. RDBMS are at a certain platform. They have a commonality. Please understand. In Oracle, the way you create primary key is same in SQL Server, right? But when it comes to like .NET versus Java, there is commonality, but they are different. When it comes to Angular versus Vue.js, there is commonality, but a huge difference, right? So what I'm saying is that the main stack is something where you have to master. This one's, yes, we will see the examples by SQL Server as well as Oracle as well as this. But with this stack, because this is a Microsoft stack, so SQL Server belongs to Microsoft and C# belongs to Microsoft and the IIS belongs to Microsoft. It becomes very specific stack. Again, I'm saying that when you go to take a job out there, you can't confuse them. You can't tell, see, like, I know Node.js also, sir. Then I did Python, and then I did machine learning, and then I did this, and then I did MongoDB. You won't get a job. Very focused. I did this. And if they need you, they will take it. So don't try to show a confused resume. That's the answer, right? Don't show a confused and a cocktail resume. Cocktail is the answer to that. The corporate sitting out there needs like person who can do this. And then you say, I can do everything. And you don't fix that, right? So I would say that stick to SQL Server, at least for my lectures. Must be, there are other lectures, which IMark is planning, where probably they're planning with Java and Oracle. So there, yes, I can understand it. See, like if this was a Java stack, Oracle. If this was a Node.js stack, MongoDB. So some of the things, they just go like hand to hand, so that's why SQL Server is there. It's very much, if you and try to search your job sites, try to search the Nepalese job sites, you will understand that how much demand of Angular is, right? Okay. Before I start this session and start my first lecture, remember today we are doing 1 hour. We will announce the lectures again of the next day, right? 1 hour. I will give you some homeworks to do, which you can easily complete in an hour in the week, right? Slow we will go. One very important point I want to talk about this finishing school is, in this is my 6th, 7th year. I have this experience of teaching offline and online to college students. What I see is that when we start the lectures, like 100 students join. Then we go to the second week, or like we go 1 month, it becomes 50. Drastically, it comes down. People are lethargic. Then I go ahead, we go to the 6th month, 20. We go till the end, where now you are finishing your college graduation, must be only 10. And believe me, guys, when it comes to job, right, only 5 get to that. I'm not saying it will happen with this batch. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that how a big fad then later on just becomes. So I am there till here with you, till you get that appointment letter in your hand. It's not going to be easy. It's not that I will recommend someone and they will give a job. It's not going to be easy. But this whole 6 7 months or whatever we have, right, you have to be with me with all the lectures, what I'm taking. I'm putting all the efforts. IMark is putting all the efforts of seeing that this is there. We are trying to help you, right? It's you who will come with us. It's not we who will. So we will see that at the end on the chat window, we only see those 10 people. We know with their names. We say, okay, this is Krishna, this is this. Okay. So these are the guys who we see at the end here, right? So I hope everyone is with us, right? So guys, let us start with JavaScript and let us start with our first lecture. So first thing what I would suggest everyone is install VS Code. This VS Code, if you see the installation, it's a very pretty simple installation. So must be I can just show you. So step one today, first install VS Code. Must be I can give you the list of installation steps later on, but if you just go and Google VS Code download, you will see code.visualstudio.com, and depending you have a Mac, you have a Linux, you have a Unix or whatever, right? So you can install this VS Code out here, right? Why VS Code? Because it makes your writing of a JavaScript easy. It makes your writing of Angular easy. It has good IntelliSense and so on, right? So writing that in Notepad JavaScript, it becomes difficult, right? So once you install VS Code, again, please note that if it is 64-bit, install 64-bit, right? So step one, I will write down all these things on the Notepad out here, right? On this thing, lecture one. So I will say here installation. Remember these notes I will be upgrading. So VS Code installation. It's a very pretty and a simple installation. Just next, done, right? So here now, there is my VS Code. You can see Visual Studio Code. VS Code is created by Microsoft. Remember, there are two things. One is there is Visual Studio and there is VS Code. VS Code runs on Linux. It runs on Mac. Visual Studio 2017 or Visual Studio 2019 runs only on Windows, right, everyone? Okay. So I'm going to go and run VS Code out here. And what I will do is, let me go and create here a very simple folder out here. And I will say that this is our finishing school, Nepal. And this is all my notes, my lectures I will put out here. Finishing school, Nepal, 2020, right? Yep, 2020. 2021, we are already entering the new year. So let me put it 2020-21. Okay. And this is our first lecture. So what I will do is I'll create here like new folder and I will say this is lecture one, right? So lecture one. So what we will do is let us go ahead and write a simple JavaScript program out here. I'm sure that a lot of people have done JavaScript. And again, one more important point. This course will not be mouth feeding. This course will not be slow. This course will not be like, that lullaby kind of thing. It's going to be a bit enterprise. You will find that I would be faster sometimes, right? So please take all the effort to ask me questions on my chat. Please feel, try to reach to IMark as far as possible. We have other developers out there in Nepal also who wants to help out the young juniors, right? So I'm going to go and run VS Code. Here it is. I would advise you to run VS Code as administrator, because sometimes what happens is you try to run some of the code and they don't work, right? So please try to run it as administrator. So there it is. My VS Code is running. Now, when I run my VS Code, you can see there is some code which is seen at this moment on my window. Don't get too much confused with it, right? What you can do is this, because these things are my current project. So that's why it is open, right? You won't see all this, right? So what you will do is you'll go and you will say file open folder, and I will go and I'll open lab one. So there it is, lecture one. I will open it. And let us go ahead and create our first JavaScript program out here. You can see that VS Code, I have kept a black theme because I am like nearby around to 50 now. So I want to keep my eyes cool. I don't want to strain my eyes. So I have kept a black theme. If you guys are young, you can keep a white theme also, right? So that I will leave it to you. So that's why my Windows is black at this moment. So here I will create, you can see it has opened up the lecture one folder here. This lecture one folder is the folder which is here. This is the lecture one folder, right? So I will go here, I will create a new file, and let us say, this is our lab1.html or first program.html, right? Or must be, I'll say lab1. Now in VS Code, we have something called as the code snippets. code snippet. So for example, if I want to write an HTML code out here, what you do is that you write like this HTML, you write head, you write title and so on. But there are ready-made code snippets out here. What you can do is you can say doc. You can say doc. These are also termed as emmet and abbreviation. So if I say tab and boom, the code is before you, right? So in this, I want to go and write my first hello world program of JavaScript. So JavaScript, in JavaScript, you write all the code inside the script/script tag. So point number one, I'll already have written down in my notes. This notes will be circulated to you. JavaScript should be written inside the script tag. Okay. I know the notes are loose. Remember that all these video recordings are on YouTube. So I'm sure that you can make it up. So I'll just say here, where x is equal to 0. Well, let me say alert high just to start with, right? So let me not strain you for the first lecture. Point number one, JavaScript is case sensitive. So like if you write an alert with an A capital, it will give you an exception. If you say A, okay, this is how it is, right? So JavaScript is case sensitive, right? And all the syntax of JavaScript ends up with semicolon. So you need a semicolon at the end of the day. So let us go ahead and run this program. So I'll say reveal in File Explorer. Look at all those small tips, what I'm doing out there. Right click, reveal in File Explorer. So it opens up the folder where your program is, right? So I will just quickly go and run lab 1 out here. That's my first program with JavaScript hello, right? Easy, very easy. Okay, but now let me start with something tough, right? So must be I can, these are your labs and I would suggest you to practice. So first program of JavaScript, that is lab 1, right? So JavaScript is written inside the script tag. It always needs a semicolon at the end and so on. Now let me try to clarify some statements out here. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript is a prototypical language, right? So I'm going to go and just write down some statements. It's already written here, but let me put down these statements here. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript. I will come to questions. I will do this demo and I will come to questions, right? JavaScript is not statically typed. Don't worry about the English. Remember, in Asia, English is our second language. For example, and because English is a second language, sometimes, we get like, oh, what is dynamic language? Like statical language. But when you know the inner meaning of it, it would be very easy, right? And I would suggest everyone in this class, I know that I love Nepalese language, but please speak in English. Why? Because when you go to fetch out a job out there, when you go with your resume out there, you have to, who recruits developers? Must be companies of US, must be company of UK. They speak English, right? So with all respect, to our local language out there, to do business right, we need to speak the proper technical vocabulary, like statically typed, prototypical language. It just needs habit. It just needs a habit to speak, right? So I'm there with you. Don't worry. It's the first lecture. I don't want to, bug you up with it. So some statements I want to now demo it. JavaScript is not statically typed. Data types are inferred. These are the three statements, which I want to explain you, right? And then I will come back to lectures out there, right? JavaScript is a dynamic language. What does it mean, right? Dynamic means when I say here, like, let's say I declare a variable. I declare a variable here where x is equal to 0, right? And I say x plus plus. So now what happened here is in this line, look at this. This is line 9. This is line 9, right? So in this line 9, okay, let me do it like this. X is equal to, okay, let's say x is equal to IMark, right? Now look at this small code snippet out here. And that's what I mean. What do you mean by dynamic? When I look at JavaScript, a lot of people also say that JavaScript is a kind of a Rangila language. It is a free willy language. It is open like air, right? It moves wherever it wants to move, right? So if you see here, for example, in this line 1 out here, so I'm going to go and just put down this. So this is, remember, if you want to see the line numbers, you can see at the left-hand side, all that 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13, so you can always know that on which line number I'm talking about. In this line, this X variable is a number. Very easy. This operator works on it. On a number, you can always do plus plus, works on it. Look at what has happened in line 11. That number has become a string. JavaScript allows that to do. That's why I said JavaScript is a dynamic language. A number becomes a string becomes an object becomes a method. Nothing. It's just crazy language out there. And that's why, in JavaScript, we get bugs very easily. It becomes difficult to solve them, right? So what can happen if it is a dynamic language? First thing, positive points of dynamic language. You don't worry about anything. You code, you complete your project, you finish it. But when you start running free in your life, when you start drinking free in your life, it has consequences, right? For example, over here also, here it became a string, and then I'm trying to do a mathematical operator on it. Boom, this will not work. This will crash, right? So JavaScript is a dynamic language. It has a plus point. You can just go and deliver your project. But, because now there is no strict check, there is no static checking. Static means while I'm coding, it is not checking anything, right? So now what will happen out here is, if you see here, I will put an alert here, alert of X, right? So here till line 11, everything will work. Line 12, I'll say, but line 14 alert will never display. So if I go and if I run this program, so I'm going to go and you can run it directly from here in the browser. So there it is, 1. It is showing 1, and then not a number, NaN. He's saying, like, what are you trying to do? You did X++, but nothing happened, right? So if you do on function F12, I don't know, it should give some errors here. It did not actually. We'll see that. But you can see here, the first alert showed a number. Actually, I was expecting an error, actually. I don't know what happened. Chrome engine is showing something else. But it does show me that this variable has the word IMark. You are trying to increment IMark. So what is the output, right? So not a number, right? So guys, very important statement here. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript is not statically typed. Means while I code, nobody tells me that, okay, like here, when I give this X is equal to IMark, nobody stops while coding. When I run the program, I have my consequences, right? So again, that second statement out there, JavaScript is not statically typed. It is more runtime. Also, the third statement I want to make you understand, data types are inferred. Data types are inferred, very important, right? So here it is. If you see here, when I do here alert type of is an operator. Type of is a function in JavaScript, which helps you to say that what is the data type of this variable, right? Remember, I'm expecting everyone is in 4th year. What is a variable? What is a for loop? What is an if condition? If you're not knowing, must be, this lectures would be difficult to understand, right? So I'm really expecting that some of those things should be known. And that's why, there is a prerequisite saying that last year college computer students or people who have done programming are eligible for this lecture, right? So in case you're finding very heavy, saying that, oh my God, like I don't understand where also, I don't understand variable also, must be these lectures can be difficult, right? So here it is. What I'm trying to do is, I will say X is equal to Shiv in the next variable here, right? Now look at this. By using type of, I'm trying to declare, the data type, right? Now what happens in Java? If you see here, if I run this, refresh, X is equal to 0. That shows as a number. Good, right? X is equal to IMark. It is showing as string. Good. What I mean is, JavaScript data types are inferred. Inferred means, remember, these are just English words. These are just English words. If you just start speaking them, you will understand it. Inferred means it looks at the value of the right-hand side. So what value we have at the right-hand side? 0. And depending on that, it decides, what is the data of the X. It looks at the value of this value here, Shiv, and it decides what is it. So this displays a number, and JavaScript is dynamic, right? And this displays a string, right? So this is, what are some of the important points of JavaScript to start with. Very, very important points. We first saw what is the first program of JavaScript. We said that in order to write a JavaScript code, you have to say script/script. JavaScript is case sensitive and it needs a semicolon. JavaScript is a dynamic language. It is not statically typed, and data types are inferred. Means you say x is equal to 0, number. You say x is equal to IMark, string, right? So guys, any questions on the first lab, what we have done? If you have any questions, I'm going to go to the chat now. Please put down on the chat. Right. Okay. How about NoSQL? So here's a question from Sirish here. How about NoSQL? Absolutely. NoSQL is also great, right? I have my own reservations for NoSQL, but I like RDBMS. So NoSQL has its own importance. Please understand. So we'll talk about that later on, Sirish. It's a very good question. So guys, let me know any questions here on these three things what we have learned. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript data types are inferred, and JavaScript does not do any kind of static checking. Everything is on runtime. If you have any questions, you can put down on the chat. And as I've said that, guys, you need to practice. Today, we will not do a lot of things. We will just do some basics of JavaScript. Next lecture, the JavaScript, the level will increase. The next lecture, it will increase more. And the next lecture, it will increase more. So anyone who is thinking that he will come and catch me on lecture number 5, it is not possible. After 5-6 lectures, it is better that you don't join the finishing school. Because after 5-6 lectures, we are way ahead. So from today, you have to start practicing every week. Walk like a tortoise, but let's meet our goal, right? So let me see any questions. And remember, when you put out a question out there, I would also come to know that how much is your level of thinking. I can see like Krishna answered and asked a very higher end question. Could you explain about script async and defer, right? So very good question. So Krishna, this is a kind of a higher end question, but let me just give you an idea that what that word async means, right? And what that word defer means. Let me talk about defer now, async now, and defer we'll see later on. Let's not get into higher end, but good question from Krishna. It is more of a higher end question. So now what happens is JavaScript is an asynchronous language. By default, it is asynchronous. Big words again, but don't worry, I'll explain you. What I mean is that, let us say you have some code running out here. And now this code goes and calls one more code out here. And some code out there must be, let's say this code which is running out here is a UI code, a JavaScript UI code. He goes and he calls another code out here which makes a call to some server, or let's say it is listening to some port. Let us say it is listening to some port, from where you get the data. Now it is taking its own time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to listen, right? At that time, we don't want this program to wait, UI to wait. You want it to continue. So what will happen is when this guy will finish, he will send a message out here and say that, hey, like I finished and my value is 10 or some value, right? So asynchronous means that basically the code which is running does not get blocked. It does not get blocked, right? So if he goes and calls another code, which is heavy code out there, he will call him and say like how we do, right? For example, if let us say, let us say that, we are on a mobile, and let's say that we have some other urgent work. We can say that, can you please hang on? I'll go there. This is asynchronous. You are trying to do this also. You are trying to do that also. For example, let us say if you are cooking your breakfast, right? So you are making a tea, and then afterwards you go and see you make your sandwich. Then you again go and make your tea, sandwich. No one is blocking, right? So here also the UI code is also running. He is also running, and both of them are running in tandem. And we get this is not parallelism, but we get a feeling of parallelism, saying that things are moving parallelly, right? So that is what async is. So in JavaScript, you can go and you can create methods which are async. But remember that, Krishna, this is a very higher end question. Wait for some time. When I do Angular, we will talk about some higher end things like RxJS, right? So let's go slow. Yes. Okay. So let us see that how many people ask questions. I can see that Krishna is already in my eyes out there. I don't know if Krishna is a HOD or lecturer. I don't know. But if he's a student, you have caught my eyes, right? So in the same way, I expect other students to ask questions, because then I come to know, okay, Krishna is asking, or Sandeep is asking, or he is asking. And once you catch the eyes of IMark, let me tell you that. Once you catch the eyes of IMark, you are catching the eyes of IMark is a company which is into banking and a lot of other things, right? So a lot of team leads would also be watching this. Also, we have the ASP.NET Neplis community who is watching this. There are also a lot of seniors from Dear Work and from other companies and Leapfrog, and we work in community. So we tell them, hey, like that junior, he's very exciting. He asks good questions, and then slowly you are into IT industry. So this is your time. You should ask, and don't ask me unnecessary questions. I will catch you. Ask me questions which make sense, right? Okay. So let us continue, guys. Let us continue with one more topic, and then we will end today's session. And again, we'll continue in the next session, right? The next thing, what I want to talk out here is, so this is there, right? I want to talk about something called as global variable pollution. In JavaScript, there is a big problem which is termed as the global variable pollution. What exactly it is, right? So here it is. I will go and I will create one more copy of this. So you can see here, Control V. So this is lab 1, lab 2, which is related to global variable, right? And we'll talk later on more on this, right? So now think about it. You go ahead, you say where x is equal to 0 out here. And let us say you create a function here saying function fun1, right? And you say x plus plus. You have function f2, right? He also does x plus plus, right? So now assume that you invoke function 1, you invoke function 2, right? And you try to display x, right? Interesting code out here. Now remember that this code will help you to understand the JavaScript global pollution, right? What I've done here, I have two functions here, function 1 and there is function 2. Remember, our concepts are very important, guys, of JavaScript. Once we know the concepts, then Angular will become breeze, right? Let me see. There are some questions coming up and screen is stable. Okay. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Raju. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. The screen, I hope, is my screen okay now? Let me know. I'm so sorry. Right. So what I did is, guys, I went ahead and I wrote this code. I'm so sorry. I've written this code here. Sorry. lab2.global.html I've created. So where x is equal to 0, and I've created here a function 1, and I've created here a function 2. And then I'm invoking function 1, and then I'm invoking function 2, and then I'm displaying alert, right? Now, what does this code do? And let us try to understand it, right? So if you see out here, this is x is equal to 0 here, right? This is function 1 who is accessing x plus plus. So function 1 runs, function 2 runs. This x is now global across your file or across your browser, across your DOM. Don't worry about the word DOM, but this is global all across. Anybody can go and modify it, right? In other words, what is happening out here is, if I run this, oh, this is lab 1. I'm sorry. We need to run the another lab2.global. So look at this. The value is 2. Why the value is 2? Function 1 incremented. He incremented the same I, same x. Function 2 incremented, Now this is called as a global variable. Now, but if you go and if you do like this, if you go and if you say where x is equal to 0 like this, right? Look at this now. And in this case now, this x will become local to the function. This x is local. This will not be accessible outside out here. So yes, it will increment the x, but because you said that this is declared inside this, it will not be accessible, right? So if you see here, this is very easy again. You can see I run the program and must be the program is crashing. So if I do on function F12, now point number 1, please run all your JavaScript code in Chrome, because in Chrome, we can see the JavaScript errors very easily. So I did on function F12, and if I go to console, it says that X is not defined. It says that X is not defined, right? Right. So you can see here that X is not defined. So good till here, right? Now let me give you a scenario. I'll come to that. I can see that a lot of questions out there. But now I do this. I forget to put where. Very simple mistake I've done. I've forgotten to put a where, right? Now what happens? Now if I go and run, the program runs. I can access X outside. I repeat this. When I put a where out here, it was good. It was all local. When I delete the where, suddenly this X has become global. This is termed as JavaScript hoisting and global variable pollution. So what happens is, if you use the word where, he respects scope. If you use the word where, he respects scope. He said, oh, you use where, I will respect it. If you put where out here, the scope is from here to here. But now if you don't put where out here, he goes and he takes this X and he makes him global. This is termed as JavaScript hoisting. Remember when you see a crane, there is a crane out there, right? So a crane, what it does is it pulls things up, right? So when he finds that you are not using the word where, he says, then he becomes crazy, right? And this can lead to a lot of bugs. That means that, think about it, you say like X is equal to IMark, and then you go here and IMarks becomes dafe. It's why? Because that X is now global. It is like a street dog, anybody can modify it, and there are bugs in the application, right? So again, some more important points in JavaScript which you need to remember. Remember, guys, you must be wondering that, so why we have to go so in depth? Well, when you start learning Angular, when you get a bug in Angular, right? If you get some of these errors, right, you should be able to make it out. So remember, where is for declaration. Declaration means where makes the declaration respectful, right? Where respects the scope. Without where variables, without where keyword, variables become global. So always declare where, or else you will have a global pollution, right? And also I talked about the concept of JavaScript hoisting. In JavaScript hoisting, when you declare a variable without the where keyword, the variable goes at the top, right? So guys, these were some of the concepts we have covered today, right? So we have covered today the following, and we will stop here the lectures. I'll go back to questions out there. We talked about that JavaScript is case sensitive. JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript is statically typed. Data types are inferred. Where keyword respects scope. The time you do not use where, it becomes crazy. Everything becomes global. It takes the variable of a local and makes it global, which is termed as JavaScript hoisting. So guys, these are the 2 lectures which I will, for today's class, we will do, right? We will not do more than this. Now let me go back to questions here. Any questions you can ask on the chat. All this source code I will be posting out to GitHub. Also, like, you will have a link into the YouTube channel, right? Okay. Can we use let versus where? Okay, very good question. So explain about event bubbling. So Praveen Baral, do one thing, this event bubbling question, we can do it, when we do events. Keep that question reserved for me and I will answer that. Today, let us avoid that question. This is a good question here, right? From Krishna as well as from Naveen. I'm very happy to see this question, and you guys are already doing JavaScript. So that means that Nepal is moving ahead, right? So let instead of where. Let me talk about it. Very good question. This X becomes global when I don't use where. When I don't use where, this X becomes global. Now let me do like this. Let X is equal to 0. Let X is equal to 0, right? Now what happens? I have not used where, right? You can see with this let X is equal to 0, he has made the X as private. It does not have a where. It does not have a where, and it has made it private. I've been telling you from past 10 minutes, without where it was not respecting. But when you say let X is equal to 0, he says, yeah, let me respect it. And you can see that the outside this X is coming undefined, means these variables are not getting hoisted. If I put an alert X out here, it will work. It will show me the value, definitely. If you see here, this local value is 1, but outside, boom, right? Now you must be asking, then what? Like, we use where, we use let, we use what, right? This let keyword is for some other purpose, right? There are a lot of syntaxes, like when you are doing Angular or when you're doing Vue.js, right? What happens is, for example, let us say you are doing a for loop, right? In Angular, the syntaxes are like this. We will do Angular later on. you have syntaxes like this: ng for x, I don't remember it, of some collection. So this is a div tag out here, and we want to repeat this div tag for x amount of time. So whatever is the collection here, repeat it. Now think about it. Because you have not said var x here, this x can become global. And once it becomes global, first thing, you can't put a var in a for. You can't do this. You can't declare var 10 times, right? It will say that data type is already, the data variable is already declared, right? So in this case, what you want is, you want that the x should be initialized. Only inside that function it should work. It should not become global and then die off. That's why we have here let. This let, what it does is, it allows you to go through certain kind of loops like this, where you want to just declare the variable, use it, throw away, use it, throw away. You don't want to spill on that DOM browser and make it global, right? Think about it. If I have 100 records out here in this collection, assume that, here there are 100 collection, 100 values, 100 global variables will get created, right? But thanks to this let keyword, it will just create it, throw it, create it, throw it, right? So let is for a different purpose. I hope that clarifies your question, Krishna. Let me know if that clarifies your question. So let, can we use let instead of var? Yes, you can use let, but let is for some other purpose, right? Scoping is var. Let is like for each loop, or somewhere, you are looping 10 times. So there, it's for let, right? Good question from Naveen and Krishna. I'll take this question up from Praveen. JS hoisting is for both functional variables and function expression. Yes, hoisting is for no, when you say hoisting, it is very specific for variables. It is for expressions, I need to check, but it's mostly for variables. For expressions, I need to check on that. I'm not aware of it. Expressions, need to check. But for variables, it is. Variable hoisting, the JavaScript hoisting, mostly the problem is around variables, but probably it's for expressions as well. Okay, so from Mahesh Joshi here, how it's different from normal Java and JavaScript? Okay, very different. Java is very different from JavaScript. Only the name is same. Only the name is same. Some words are same. Java. That's it, right? JavaScript is a language which was created by the Netscape team, right? This language was created long time back. JavaScript was meant to run only inside the browser. When it was created, it was meant to run only inside the browser. While Java is a full-blown language made by, Sun. At that time, it was Sun who made it. And specifically, it was meant to run on all the kind of operating system, all the kind of hardware. So it was more cross-platform. While JavaScript was created to run inside the browser, right? Very different. There is no connection. Both are different languages, different compilers. Only the name JavaScript is, the Java is the same, but it's very different, right? It is like saying that, is Mahesh Joshi equal to Sunil Joshi? No, only Joshi is same. They are both different persons, right? Same way it is. Okay. So guys, I think, let us not stretch too much out here today. Thank you very much, right? And these notes all will be published. Let me go and share with you the Telegram channel, what has been created, where you can connect to us. So I don't know this Telegram channel, how you can note it down. And we will meet now again. I will give you some homeworks. Now, yeah, about the homeworks, let's see that how many people completed. Whatever lectures we have taken till now, I want you guys to go and write notes, a blog. Nothing. I don't expect anything. For example, I'll give you some example out here. Finishing school. This is IMark. I think already people have joined in. Well, let me show you. There is another finishing school, which I'm again executing, which is for India. There is another finishing school, which I'm doing for US, right? I really love to teach the youngsters, right? So here it is. This is one of the blogs, which is created by one of our other students out there. Look at it. Closure in JavaScript day 5, closure in JavaScript. So if you see here, let me take up, which is like where people have written 10, 15 articles, right? Remember, these students are also from other colleges, but they are from India, right? Let me take up from Shivraj. No, there were some great ones out there. One which I really liked from, I think, Mayuri. I don't know. Somebody wrote 25 articles. So their lectures have already gone ahead. So you can see here, these are the JavaScript classes. Now, this is written by a student. So, if you go and see JavaScript class 1, this is Angular, they have already started. So they have started with Angular, but somewhere they must have written for JavaScript as well. Look at this. This is the lecture, what is written. Data types are inferred in JavaScript. Type inference means JavaScript automatically detects the data type. I want you to write your own blog. All the students out here today, whatever I've taught, go ahead, create a blog using Blogspot. It is absolutely free. Give some good name out there. Don't give names like, shivbiz.blogspot.com. Say like learn JavaScript. I am a learner.blogspot.com, something like this, So give a proper name, write your first article and post it into our Telegram channel out here. A lot of seniors from Kathmandu are watching you who are working in IT companies. IMark team is watching you, and many of my IT friends in Kathmandu will be watching, right? Let us see that how many of you guys complete this. So we have actually done some couple of things out here. So must be what you can do is you can say lecture 1, how to write your first program. Lecture 2, why is JavaScript dynamic language? Lecture 3, where? Lecture 4, must be you can just create small blocks, right? Small samples, paste it out there and let me read it. Why do we want to do this? We want to see your seriousness. We want to see that, okay, this guy he opened up a blog spot, he wrote these articles, I read him, and he's doing good. Like for example, here we saw that some person has written 12 articles. 12 articles means that student is serious. And if he continues like this for a year, we will put him in a project, right? So writing these articles is saying that you understand what I'm teaching. That's the only thing. It is pandemic, so I can't tell you to write on a notebook, right? So I'll tell you to write on a blog, right? So that's the only thing I expect, guys, article writing, and then we will see if any other assignments I can give you, right? So thank you very much to join to this session out here. Thanks a lot, and thank you very much. So guys, any questions before I end the session? Yes. Right. So I can see no questions. So thank you, guys. I'm ending 7 minutes prior, but that's fine. So guys, we'll do 1 hour or 2 hours in a week. That's it. Not more than that. And you write blogs. And let us see that how many people continue till the 3rd and the 4th month, right? Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you.